I just do me, but they say I'm too much. Chosen one, I don't ever get too far. Woo. And my mama said I'm special. If I don't trust you, shoot your metro. Future looking bright, nigga, got that glow. Professor X, nigga, all the gifts I show. My life like a movie shot off the hit show. Me and blessed hands make a bitch get low. James Willis, DJ CEO. Dave hit record, now we on beast mode. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Hit Show Podcast. And I got a special guest. Y'all seen her on the Antoinette Beat Takeover show? She did a great job with Antoinette. Shout out to Antoinette.
Hey, sis.
Barkley. Make sure y'all follow Antoinette Barkley on Facebook. That's my other castmate. She does the Antoinette Beat Takeover every Wednesday night. She had an awesome show this week. Every week she's doing an excellent job. She had this lady on. I said, you know what? I got to get her on the show. Welcome back, Rosemary Bay. Thank you. How you doing?
Yay. Thank you for having me. Hey, everybody. Thank you. Shout out to the Hit Show Podcast. Shout out to Antoinette. Fire show. I had such a good time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I've been looking forward to getting with you. So thank you so much for having me, bro.
No problem. And I was listening to a little bit of what you were talking about with Antoinette.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of show we did when we were talking about protecting black.
I saw it and I loved it, by the way.
Yeah, it's called Protecting Black Women, Men's Accountability.
Phenomenal, flawless show. Top to bottom, flawless.
So, when I was hearing you speak about how consistently black women are murdered and unprotected, I said, well, let me get a woman's opinion. I gave my manly opinion how we can protect black women. But from a woman's perspective, what can we do to work together to protect black women and make black women feel safer?
Well, first of all, thank you again for having me. And I can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing with men's accountability. I was sitting here, so I was showering while I was listening to the podcast. And that's the think box. Everybody going there to think, and all the thoughts and the magic happens in the shower. And I was just like, what can we do to make this go viral? Like, everybody needs to hear this, because either, like you guys were saying on the show, and I'm just saying this because I need to give you your flowers. Either men are simps on these podcasts, or they're tearing the black woman down and they're not solutions oriented. And finally, I was waiting for y'all to say something. I was looking for a chink in the armor. I was looking to hear some fluff and some propaganda, and I couldn't find it. I could not find it. It was perfect. It was honest. It was pure from the beginning to the very last second. I did not stop it. I watched it all the way through, no interruptions. And so I just want to thank you for what you're doing, and you have my support. I'm really, really big on media and marketing. I'm just learning and have been studying for some time, and all of the brands that I believe in, I just really want to rally around, with prayer and support to help you guys, go to the next level. So I'm definitely gonna be sending that link out. I'm going to be promoting it on my platforms and just texting it to girlfriends and stuff and putting it in my stories because it needs to be heard. So if y'all haven't, to the viewers, if y'all haven't seen it, I pray that he provides a link for y'all to go see it again, because it was the chef's kiss. It was amazing. So in my perspective, just a little bit of background for those of you, of course, you don't know me. Like, I'm just out here trying to do my thing. I have an organization here where I live in Detroit, Michigan, called I Am My Sister's Keeper Detroit. Soon to be I Am My Sister's Keeper Global, because the need is just that high, and there's a demand for support and awareness being raised that black women are being murdered in America, according to the FBI, every 5 to 6 hours. I spoke with a sheriff recently, and he said, Rose, that number is wrong. He says we have to underestimate numbers in law enforcement as to not over exaggerate. So he says, if we're telling you it's 5 to 6, it's probably more like every hour, but we just can't get a handle on it. He says it's astronomical. If they told you 5 or 6, Rose, he said it's way worse. And so what we need first of all, it's funny because it's a song, baby, what we need is understanding within the black community. All I need from you, shout out to Escape, is understanding. Like 1, 2, 3. We need understanding because, and I heard y'all touch on these things. It was so good. Your guest was talking about James from Good Times, representing an era of men and family that does not exist anymore. And a word that's been ringing in my spirit and on my heart this week, I'm gonna go back and watch that show. I just can't stop thinking about it. Every time I want to say something, I keep thinking about it. But as y'all were talking, I was thinking about something that God put on my heart, and I am a woman of faith, so y'all gonna hear me refer to God about everything because that's just how I live my life. And it's social engineering. What we've seen since that era up until now, it's pretty much a social experiment. And people think that they're actually thinking free thoughts as it pertains to relationships and families. And why am I saying this? Because I can just look at an average Black man and say, yo, are you? And I do this. I evangelize this at the gas station. Man, open my door for me. And if I feel he's open or maybe even interested and he might be wanting my number, you can feel that vibe. You know what I'm saying? I'll give it to him, but I'm like, yo, what you doing to protect Black women? What you mean? And we'll have that whole conversation. But the truth of the matter is, on a conscious level, men can't even begin to grasp that they are responsible and could and should do something. And it's because, like you said, offline, back, behind stage, if you will, that the responsibility for what goes on in the Black community and the Black family, it falls on the Black man. Mm-hmm. And not only have you guys been crippled via social engineering, like y'all were saying, men don't have the wherewithal, the means, nor the backbone to show up. And then you have women who are overworked. Men have become limp because he's just been non-existent. So those muscles of protecting and providing, y'all did such a phenomenal job. The muscles that you take to flex, to protect and provide for a family have atrophied in the Black man. It's non-existent. It's as if you sat in a bed. If you laid in the bed and have been bedridden for 10 years, your legs won't work anymore if you don't use them for that whole time. And so somebody asks you now, hey, it's an emergency, get up, stand up. That person's going to melt in the floor. They're going to fall because they've not used their legs for 10 years. Does that make sense? And I think it's the same thing for our brothers. You guys have been marginalized via, educationally. And you guys talked about welfare, reform and things of that nature that you guys were not allowed to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? And you guys have been incarcerated, I think like 3 or more times than any other race. Mm-hmm. And you're not expected to live long at all. Mm-hmm. So you get all of that. Y'all are in survival mode. You can't carry a family and protect a family and a woman and a whole nother life when you've not been given the tools that you need to support your own. And so this is what I'm saying when we need understanding, because we're all responsible. But it's like, okay, which came first, the chicken or the egg? That's the game we're playing right now with these podcasts. Did the woman run the man away, or did the man just leave voluntarily because he an F nigga? Like, which one was it? No. What I don't understand is somebody behind the scenes is pulling the strings.
Exactly.
They're telling you, young lady, if you get pregnant without a man in the house, don't worry about it. I'm going to be that baby's daddy. I'm going to give you free diapers. I'm going to give you free milk. And so if a man's natural role is to protect and provide, which is hunting and gathering, we call it science. He's a hunter and a gatherer. That's what makes him a man. He has to have sex. He has to provide. He has to protect, or else that's not a man.
Exactly.
He needs to exert that energy. Just like he needs to sexually climax, or which I get blue balls, whatever y'all got going on. It's the same way emotionally and spiritually. He has to be able to protect and provide. When you take that away and tell him, I don't need you, I earn 6 figures, so I got 3, you're demoralizing that man. You're dehumanizing him. And so, of course, he's not going to protect and provide for you.
I'm glad you said that, because I put a post, I reposted something. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into this because you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Protecting and providing is different, right? Mm-hmm. Let me say this. I did say tricking and providing is the same thing. It's when you do it and how you do it. But if we're really talking about protecting and providing, you protect and provide for the woman you actually love and want to be with, and the woman that actually loves you and wants to be with you.
Yeah.
Now, anything else, if you really don't like her, she really don't like you,
right?
Want her for sexual purposes or for attention.
Yeah.
You're taking care of things. You're tricking. So let's separate that, okay?
That was so good when y'all said that.
Everybody want to get all Mexican screwed because I reposted something with a rapper, Lil Uzi, that picked up the girl from the City Girls when she went to prison. Mm-hmm. Picked her up with a bag full of money and said, hey, I'm going to take care of you. You can move in with me.
Yeah.
And that's not really love. That was like on her vulnerability because she was getting out of prison, no money. I don't know if she had a place to live, but when you go at a woman when she's vulnerable with money, she's gonna say yes. That's not love. I'm not saying that potentially she might love him, but it's got to work up to that because you come out the door like, here, I'm gonna just do everything for you.
Yeah.
So that's not protecting and providing. That's tricking. I'm just being honest.
Can I ask you a question about that? I talked about this, and when you reached out and was like, Rose, I want you to come on. I wonder, did he hear the whole conversation? Because I was saying some stuff, child, and so I'm gonna say something that's unconventional. Okay, whether you think, we came from a slave ship. Some people think we were Indians. We always been here. Other people think that we're Israelites. Other people think that we're Africans. Either way, we are not Americans, right? And why am I saying that? Because the two kids, the picket fence and the dog types American dream scenario was not for us.
No, not at all.
We're an Eastern people trying to live out a Western culture. So I'm not a polygynist, right? Or a polygamist or something like that. But I understand how people do it and I can see how it works. And so what goes for you just because it don't go for me, you know what I'm saying? I get it. I also understand I believe the Bible is our history book. Everybody in there black. Pretty much. Everybody in there black, right? This is what happened inside of that culture. Taking white Jesus out and putting the black, kinky hair Jesus in. This is what his culture was about. Exactly what Uzi Vert did, except he didn't marry her. These people were betrothed and given away. I touched on this with Antoinette. That basically the parents made it their business. Actually, one of the men in the Bible named Abraham on his deathbed, it was so serious to him. He took his assistant by the neck and was like, yo, nigga, go get my son a wife and make sure she ain't one of them skanks from the other side of town. I need you to go far away and go bring him a good girl. Because it's a scripture in the Bible that say literally a woman can reduce a good man to a slice of bread. That's what the scriptures say.
Yeah, it does.
You can tear him all the way down to nothing. So that's one of the most important decisions you'll make in your life, who you procreate and marry. And we don't even deal with it with that type of reverence and seriousness. But long story short, the parents would arrange a marriage, and the man was responsible to buy the woman from the family because she represented not only a member of the family, but she was a source of income because they were agricultural people. So she was either sowing or she was raising some type of animal, and she was able to earn the family income. So once you take my daughter, the income's gonna go down. So he would buy the girl from the family because she left the void. So it was sight unseen. A lot of the times, sometimes even seeing some of these women. And so the truth of the matter is, it was a different concept, like romance and that type of love that we see in movies, like, oh, everything got to be perfect. Everything got to be compatible. Nothing can rub me the wrong way. It was more logical that women needed men. See, African women think like that because they still have those what's it called? Those convictions and values that were stripped from us in slavery. And it's that men hold a lot of weight and a lot of value in that they protect us and they provide for us. So it wasn't about romance. It wasn't about like, yo, do you know my favorite color? Are you always gonna bring me flowers and chocolate? That stuff can be learned.
And you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
You say that by me posting what I posted and how I felt, a lot of black men that I know personally disagreed with me. That's how I know a lot of black men really take pride in protecting and loving black women, because black men get such a bad rep.
They sure do.
Not protect and provide. Look at the post. It's more black men on there saying, James, I don't agree with you.
Saying that it was tricking. They disagreed that it was tricking.
Yeah, they disagree it was tricking.
I disagree. I don't think it was tricking.
We've been tricked that anytime you spend money, it's provide. That's not providing.
I see what you're saying.
It's a certain way. I'm going to tell you what's protecting and providing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not just about spending money. We live together. It's 2 a.m. You sick.
Aww.
I know you sick.
Yeah.
You know I'm okay. No, I'm going to get up, take you to the hospital.
Wow.
That's protecting.
Yeah, that's good.
Me knowing you sick and I roll over and take my butt back to sleep.
Listen. That happened to me. I got into a car accident and I was pregnant with my daughter. My then husband, I called him. It was like 2 a.m. and it was snowing outside. Yeah. And I was in this apartment complex and the salt hadn't been down, and it was a steep hill, and my car almost went off a ledge into like some rocks. It was so traumatic. And I called him and I said, yo, I'm in trouble. And he was like, "Oh, you okay? The car okay? What's going on?" I said, "Well, it's snowing and I had an accident." And he was like, "Okay, you okay? How's the baby?" I said, "They taking my vitals and everything right now." He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I got work in the morning. I'm gonna go back to sleep. Call me if you need me." I said, "This is the call. I need you. What you mean?" And he literally went back to sleep. So y'all, when you say what you say about protecting and providing, it's not just fine. It's an emotional and a connection. That's a spiritual bond, and you're not lying, because I couldn't put him down. I was putting my mother down for emergency. She lived in another state. I was putting my mother and my sisters down and my best friends down for emergency contacts on our medical records and stuff, because I did not feel like he could protect and keep us safe. So when you say what you say, like, I feel that 1,000%.
But see, you understand, because you know what a man is. Mm-hmm. A lot of men, if I tell another man that, if he disagrees with me and thinks it's just money that's protecting, providing, he's not a man. Yeah. See, only boys know. That's a boyish way to think. Protecting and providing is just taking care of shit. No, it's more than that.
Yeah.
Because if for me to protect you, I got to be able to protect you emotionally.
That part. Yeah.
And physically, you should feel safe with me.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's also providing and protecting. It's not just
absolutely. Money. Absolutely.
And that's what I mean by men think, oh, I can just spend money. That's protecting and providing. No, that's tricking.
Whew. So here's what I feel. This is what I feel. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead. You preaching tonight. Go ahead.
No, it's good. It's you. You bring it out. You bring it out. All praises.
Go ahead.
But listen, as it pertains to Lil Uzi Vert, I think, okay, rap aside, because off rip, I'm gonna be, because we were talking off camera about Future. We were talking about Future.
We're gonna get into that next. Go ahead.
And so it's a certain type of culture inside of that entertainment community. And I write and I sing and I perform. So I know a little bit about how it goes. Everybody's passing rounds. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just kind of pass, mates, especially when you're young in your 20s like that and you're not trying to commit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just kind of free game. It's really like a free love type of environment, you know what I'm saying, where anything goes. And so that aside, if it was just a regular dude, maybe who wasn't selling drugs, he had an honest living, maybe he was in the military, he just got a lot of money and he invested well, and his girl got into some trouble and he showed up with a bag of money. Because that's what I think. I think if it wasn't Lil Uzi Vert and it was just average Joe Schmo who did well by his money, and he was an Ivy Leaguer, or maybe he just hit it big in cryptocurrency, or he got a chain of barbershops or something, and he making, $8,000, $10,000 a month. And he showed up when she got out of prison and said, "Yo, you coming with me?" I feel the conversation would be different, and we would be saying, I would say, at least, I can only speak for me, only time could tell. And that's the thing. I don't know that we could tell off rip, but I think because it's Lil Uzi Vert, that could influence the conversation around, is it tricking, or is he really truly trying to provide and protect and let her know that she got a safe space? So I think you might be biased, on a subconscious level. And I want to ask you, if it was an everyday man,
you want to be honest?
And also too, what if they was pen pals? Like, what if it's like 1,000 letters and phone calls between them and commissary and all that?
I'm gonna be honest with you, because I've heard this from Antoinette on this show. Mm-hmm. When me and her did 50-50 relationships, I'm going to send that to you.
Okay, please.
She even said it herself. When you come into the door tricking, you're going to have to keep tricking.
But that's what I'm saying. Was it tricking if they had a history while she was incarcerated?
One of my good female friends, she even told me, said, hey, if you come in the door leading with your pockets, that's what it's going to be. You can't lead with your pockets. They're going to look at you like you have to continue that all the time.
Okay.
It's a way you do it and when you do it. That's why I say tricking and providing is the same, but it's when you do it and how you do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, he might have had good intentions. I'm not saying the man didn't have good intentions. It's just how and when he did it, it was like at her lowest. It was like
I don't know, man.
Just think about it like this.
I don't know, James.
Say if it wasn't Lil Uzi.
That's what I'm saying.
Say if it was me. And I came down there with a bag of money. Said, I got a big old house. I'm going to take care of you. You ain't got to worry about. That's the easiest thing you can say to a woman that you trying to get. Hey, I'm going to take care of you. You ain't got to work. You ain't got to do nothing. That's the easiest pickup line. I go to the bar right now, put on the worst outfit I got, But say, hey, you know what? I got this amount of money. You don't have to do nothing. It's hard for her to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Most women, it's going to be hard for them to say no. Someone might say no.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to say no if I say, hey, I can do this, that, and you got to worry about nothing.
Yeah.
Yo, a woman came to me and said, I can do all this. Okay. I ain't really got to like you, but if you're going to do all that, okay. It's hard for me to say no.
But if they developed a bond, because it's two things. Like, one, it's still premature, right? And so we don't know the turn it's going to take. That's what I'm getting at. Just some practicality. And then two, I don't know how long the young lady was inside, right? But
years she was in prison. She wasn't she went in county jail.
Uh-huh.
She had got caught up with something. I think it was fraud, I believe.
Yeah, that sounded about right.
When she did it before they got signed, but she went right in like right when they was about to do like the big music videos. She had got locked up.
We said about 3 years, was it?
What year did they come out? I think I know when they got signed. Right when they got signed, she had to go to prison.
That's crazy. So my thing is, he genuinely could have been an admirer, and I know people like that, and I've heard of stories like that, like men who fall in love with women they've never met through music and the lyrics and just the whole persona, and opportunity to meet them. You know what I'm saying, and be with them and have been in successful relationships. And so that's what I'm saying. I think only time could tell, and I think honestly, because of the lifestyle and the persona around somebody of his caliber, that it comes off tricking. But I think if it was an average, if he was a cookie cutter college graduate, played All-American football, served in the Marines, and showed up with a bag of money, I'm telling you, James, showed up with a bag of money, and we would not be having this conversation.
It's tricking though. If you showing up with a bag of money and you say, hey, I'm gonna do this, and you gotta worry about nothing.
I'm gonna ask you outright, if they had history and he was writing her and calling her and putting money on her books, and they had a real bond, you know what I'm saying, heart to heart, you telling me it's still tricking?
I didn't see that in the description.
That's what I'm saying.
What I read. I didn't see all that.
Okay.
Now if they put that in there, I'd be like, okay, I understand. I can understand, because maybe they would have built a bond. But also at the same time, you in prison and you vulnerable.
That I'll give you that 1,000%. The timing and circumstances.
If you in prison, you're at your lowest.
For sure.
Think about the men that get married in prison.
You're right. Oh, you 1,000%.
There's plenty of men that don't like them women for real, but they want some and some type of affection, and they marry them so they can have sex with them, and they can still get some type of love and affection.
So you saying he shouldn't trust her? He shouldn't trust her?
I'm not saying he shouldn't trust her, because I'm sure by now they've gained each other's trust by now, I would hope.
Yeah.
But you got to think, if you're at your lowest point, right, and you just get signed a record deal, you didn't even really had a chance to make no money.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of the top artists say, hey, you going to come with me, it's going to be hard to say no.
No, that's right.
If it was me, she probably wouldn't even like my ass. She probably not attracted to me, but if I said, hey,
I got this money in this house,
she's going to say yes.
I'll give you that.
Men do the same thing. It's not just women. Men do it. I see men with women I watch Lock Up. There's men with women they know they're not attracted to or don't care. But they take care of them, and they have sex with them, and they give attention, and they're in a vulnerable state.
No, I'm going to give you that, James. I'm going to give you that for sure. I'm going to give you that one, because the circumstances make it too sketchy for sure, because of the history of people using incarceration in prison to finesse people who are desperate.
And you know what? In our community, okay, if we could get the men, when they first approach and meet these women, to be honest, and we get the women to stop worrying about how you gonna take care of me, and let's get to know each other and build a rapport and go from there and build together, we wouldn't have an 85% divorce rate in our community, would we?
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
Stop worrying about shit that we don't need to worry about. Like what you got materialistically and all this, and who you.
I love that. No, for sure.
Get to know each other. Both of us get to know each other, go on real dates, not worrying about expensive dates and extravagant stuff. Let's actually get to know each other.
Yeah.
Who are you and who am I as a person and a human being?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you got some mental problems? Do I got mental problems?
That's so important. I just told some.
Do I got some hidden skeletons in my closet? Do
Come
you
on.
got hidden skeletons? Do you got some hidden children? Do you got a hidden husband? Do I got a hidden wife?
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Stuff like that. And if we had these conversations, people actually really got to know each other, right about all this other bullshit, all this BBL shit, you got to make 6-figure shit.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have such a high divorce rate because people actually would get to know each other.
Mm-hmm. You know what I heard somebody call that? And we're in an era where they're weaponizing words because, you know, words run, you know, everything. They the filter, the thoughts that we think, you know, if somebody says something, it literally can change your energy and your mood. And so it's just like I heard, okay, it's like propaganda, for instance. It's just like propaganda. If you believe in this sort of thing, some people don't believe it. That's controversial, right? To say that the Holocaust didn't exist. But if you, for those of you that believe, or just for the sake of conversation, it was said that Hitler released propaganda, I think it was for years, before he ever killed, you know what I'm saying, one Jew. And what is propaganda? It's basically a message to program and to get the people to have a certain reaction or emotion, right? Because if it was a human killing another human, and everybody shouldn't just stand by and watch it, but you got to dehumanize the target before you actually begin to take them out. So they will begin to release these posters comparing Jews' profiles to rats, saying that they carried all these diseases, that they were subhuman and didn't deserve to live. They were going to take all their wealth, that they was going to eat their babies. They were saying all of this stuff, and they was like, oh, no. They was begging them, like, no, get them out. At this point, yeah, just get them out. And so this is what's happening as it pertains to the Black community, you know, us having a conversation about protecting women. And you ask the question, how can we do it? Put the families back together, which is what you're doing, trying to build that bridge that's been broken over time, you know, through the propaganda of media, you know. And so this thing that we're seeing right now that you're touched on so eloquently in your other podcast, and you're doing the same right now, and I honor you for that. It's called toxic ambitions.
Okay.
Toxic ambitions. We have to start naming, calling stuff what it is. You feeling me? So that we can take the power from it. Like our brother said, what was his name in that podcast about accountability? What was our brother's name? I forgot it.
Cyan the Madman, my buddy.
Bro, he was talking about James from Good Times. We never saw his car, if he even had one. Exactly. He lived in a little one bedroom apartment in the projects, in the hoodest of the hood. But you couldn't say that was not a real man. And so now what happened with the imagery, with the rap videos was already doing it. You know what I'm saying? Gator boots with a pimped out Gucci suit. You know what I'm saying? Being hood rich, you know, not having real aspirations, but just look like I got a quarter tank of gas in my new E-Class. And that began to glorify the struggle and ignorance. And then doubling down on that in the 2000s, what did we do? We introduced reality TV shows. And then you had everyday people, you know what I'm saying, trying to live this Hollywood life and not actually holding on to some type of semblance of ethics and values and family and community and honesty and integrity and dignity, for crying out loud. And so everything began to change. And nobody, after seeing that for so long, and you never had anything, you know what I'm saying? You never had nothing, the pot nor a window, no nickels to rub together. Everything that you have begins to look subpar. And now you got people doing anything and everything to get something more than what they have. And everybody's like, nothing is enough. It's like even going to concerts and stuff as a singer. Nothing that you do, because everybody is so entertained and oversaturated and all of the media. Like, you used to have to go to a concert to see your favorite artist. You couldn't get them on the internet. And so you appreciated them. You didn't tear them down. You wasn't following them all around, and you wasn't dehumanizing them and being weird with the artists that you claim that you love and admire. And you can't impress people no more. Like, everybody is so numb and oversaturated with media. You know what I'm saying? That they can't even think about the needs and the desires of us as humans and as family and things of that nature. So, like you said, get back down to the brass tacks of it. Do I have issues? What are my skeletons? Do I got secret families? Do I have secret struggles? And how can we overcome it? Do you want to do this? Am I worth it? Is he even worth it? And all of that extra stuff aside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. People don't even get to that point. They so worried about
the money.
the materialistic men and women both. Men is worried about men. We worried about how can I get this sex.
Mm.
Women worry about okay, what can I get out of them?
Yeah.
Can I help me with my car? Not all, but I'm just saying that's
No, that's real.
women. What can he do for me? I got kids. Y'all want something, and so do we. And we both trying to figure out how can we get it, rather than just
Being honest.
being honest and actually saying, "Hey, this is really what I want."
Yeah, that's good.
And we'd have less confusion, and it'd be easier for us to communicate and get along.
That's so good. I agree. Like wholeheartedly, I thoroughly agree.
And that's why I miss Kevin Samuels. And then we're gonna get into the next subject, but I have to bring it up because when he was talking to the men,
yeah.
So, ladies, if y'all watching this show, that I know all y'all hate Kevin Samuels. I know y'all don't like me that much. I love Kevin Samuels. I don't give a damn because he held men and women accountable, black men and women. He held both of us accountable.
Yeah.
He was specifically telling the men, if you want a woman to take you serious and you want this type of woman, a good woman,
yeah,
you need to have your things in order as a man. Okay? You need to have a reliable job, reliable transportation, a place to live.
Yeah.
You need to be smelling good and have decent clothes and have a good image for yourself.
For sure.
Be in decent shape so you can be the best version of yourself.
That's good.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. You know what it is? James? Because this whole like toxic, remember I told you about weaponizing words. They came up with that term toxic masculinity.
That's bullshit.
You see what I'm saying? No such, I won't say there's no such thing, but not how they were calling it. And so people are so sensitive to male authority figures that anything that goes against the status quo looks harmful. And he's the father that a lot of people never had. So because they've never had that authority of somebody giving you boundaries and actually telling you no, he looks like the enemy because he's telling the truth. He was simply telling the truth.
Yeah. The women hated him, but they knew in the back of their mind, like, oh, he's right. Most of his fan base was women, but they hated him so much. But that was his fan base. But we got to get to this next subject because I know you got long. Now, this is the first time I've covered this. The first time I went so hard on them, YouTube and Facebook took my video down.
That's wild. That is so wild.
Anytime I talk about the president stuff, they didn't even take. I don't even think they took that one down, but they took Russell. They must have seen it because I was in. So what's happening, Russell Wilson, Cierra, Future? One of y'all, if y'all watching, give me a shout out because the first time I covered y'all, somebody
taken down
off media. It got taken off, but we got to talk about this love triangle.
Yeah,
okay? It's so many things been going on with these three here. Okay. Mm-hmm. The back and forth diss songs from Future, okay? And then at first, when Russell and Cierra got together, you seen Russell playing with Baby Future a lot.
Yeah.
That's what he's supposed to do. He took that fatherly role.
Yeah.
And the type of person Russell seems to be, he seems like that's who he is. He's not faking, you know what I'm saying, and trying to just Future off. That's who he really wants to be in his life. His life. And so you heard Future he went on the Breakfast Club like, you ain't supposed to have kids around other men for years and years and years. He was salty about it. But I have to admit, if that's the role he's going to play, then he's going to be there.
Exactly that.
Be the stepfather. You know what I'm saying? It kind of seemed like Future's a little salty about it. But at the same time, he's making songs saying stuff like, I still smash on C, right? Mm-hmm. I even though the song is kind of recent, I don't think he's still messing with her now. But I will say, when her and Russell first got together, because he's so different from Future, he probably did smash a few times. He did.
And see, that's why she's with him, because he's so different from Future. This is what I think about Cierra.
Women, they do cheat. Women like to cheat early in relationships.
Why you have to come all on the mic? Why you have to come all on the mic?
I had to get it because look, and you know who told me that? Women, my female friends themselves, I wouldn't say their names, but they've told me that themselves, like, yeah, usually in a new relationship, I might go back once or twice. And that's coming from women. That's not me making it up. I'm just being honest.
The truth of the matter is, this is all speculation anyway. No. Because I'm not saying that that's something that I'll do or would do, but I'm saying we don't know. But this is what I'm going to say from a woman's perspective that's dealt with F niggas most of her life. Okay. So again, when you asked before, like, how can we protect Black women? We got to have some understanding that we're all broken as Black people because of the country that we live in, and because of the fact that they did not. The wounds are still leaking from slavery. They very much are leaking, and I don't have time to kind of open that up. PTSD is real. It's called post-traumatic slave disorder. Not you know what I'm saying? Not post-traumatic stress. That's the traditional term, post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of us have post-traumatic slave disorder. I will say this much. The number one thing that they did when they sold us and separated us and took us off those boats was separated the fathers from families. We came across as families, and then we became individuals. They could sell us off, separate us anytime they got good and ready. If it was profitable in whatever capacity, they got rid of us, got rid of our dads, emasculated our fathers by buck breaking and things of the nature. And so why am I saying that? That whole fatherless thing, even though slavery, quote unquote, is supposed to be illegal here, they're still very much separating and taking away our fathers, again, like we said before, with welfare. Why does this matter to Cierra and Future? Cierra very much looks and moves like somebody who did not have a strong father figure in her life, because a strong father figure would have told her, get that nigga from around you. You young and successful and beautiful. You don't have any children. This nigga got 75. Get away from him. Get away from him. And so because your standard is low, like your father is supposed to set the bar. So if he's not around, or if he a weak dude, or if he is an F nigga, I wrote a book about F boys. And the first chapter say, forgive your father, the first F boy you ever loved. More than likely, women are dating their dads. Emotionally unintelligent, emotionally unavailable, like you said, not willing to or able to provide and protect. And so detached, non-communicative, like all of the things. And so she very much picked somebody who was not even on her level, whether she knew it or not. So why Russell after that? Not because she pretended, not because he was a rebound, but because after being in something like that I consider very traumatic, that I consider very toxic, you know what not to do. It's the anti-future. He's the anti-future. And I honestly think that's why she picked him. Is he still smashing? We won't ever know that unless the text messages and sex video come out. But I think that's why she picked him, because he's the anti-future.
I don't think he's messing with her now. But I believe at first he might have once or twice got that. Yeah, I think so. But I believe so. But this is the thing. I've seen it so many times. But Russell's a good dude. You know, people think I get on Russell. I just don't like the fact that guys like Russell that are good guys that get broken women they get like,
you say broken.
Yeah, like, you know, like women that go through a lot, that go to men like Russell. They're not really. They're just there because they're safe. You know, like Russell seemed like a good dude.
I think she broke. I think he got her before she got broke.
No.
I think if she would have went to another dude, if Russell would not have approached her, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I heard you say that. You tried to say it real fast and slick and call her girl broke. I don't think
not broken like she.
I know what you meant. I don't think she was broken. I think she was definitely think she was injured. And even though Russell got it all together, for instance, like somebody like Colin Kaepernick, who I like in the same type of category. Colin Kaepernick is biracial. Okay. I think it's levels to brokenness. Some that is overt and some that is covert. So somebody like a Russell Wilson, who is whatever he is, I don't think he's like fully African American. He's something.
He's black.
He might be, but he don't move like it in certain aspects. I personally feel like he.
You know, but Russell, as quiet as he is, quiet people don't. He got some nigga in him. Don't think.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. Cece, I don't think she was broken. I think she was injured, but I also feel like Russell was injured too. Just like I was saying about Colin Kaepernick with that whole taking the knee movement. He felt like he didn't even know what it was to be black because he was not raised as a black person. And so think about the things that he was not doing and people he could not connect with, that he was just like a talking face, but not really, he was, black by name only, but not in function. That's also an injured person because you can't help us socially with all that money that you have, with all that status, with all that power. The plight of being African American, so-called, in America and you're not fully engaged in this struggle, you're also injured. Think of a Will Smith or a Will versus the Carlton Banks. Like Carlton was injured. He got all this money. He got all this status and stuff, but it was a lot of stuff that he was out of touch with, and Will helped to ground him because Will was broken because he didn't have a father, but he was holding that he had knowledge of self. Mm-hmm. And so I don't personally think Cece was broken simply because she had been injured. Like that's two different things. Like maybe if she would have been with another couple dudes, had another couple babies, you know what I'm saying?
Some dude. But this is the thing with that whole situation, right? Mm-hmm. They get on too much. The women, when I post anything about Cierra, Future, he's so unresponsible and he just makes babies. I'm like, so he's unresponsible, make babies by himself? He's a public figure, so people know who he is, how many kids he laid down with him.
Oh, God.
He's the only one that gets the bad rep. Like, y'all let him have sex with you raw, knowing he got 6 other kids over here, and then when it don't work out, you want to complain. Like, you set yourself up.
I feel like you bringing it full circle, and I'm enjoying it. I'm going to do this again. I feel like you bringing it full circle with the Uzi Vert. Look, come on. You bringing it full circle with the little Uzi Vert and JT, because if Future pull up to your projects in a Bugatti or even just in a iced out Tahoe or Escalade and ask you to come with him, all the kids be damned. He can have all them kids. And if the girl ain't never had nothing, never had a father figure, you know what I'm saying, or felt like her life was mediocre, and we talked about toxic ambitions and Future can upgrade your life. You know what I'm saying? She's not thinking logically. She's thinking from, like you said, what itch do I need to be scratched? You said it. Men come to it's a business thing. Like he needs something from her. She feel like she needs something from him. And that's not logic. That's scarcity. That's not coming from love. That's lust and fear.
You tried it. That was good. That's good. I give it to you. Good. You real good. But I'm gonna disagree. Yeah. You know why?
That's okay.
You a woman of God, ain't you?
I try.
No, wait a minute. Now, before we got on here,
I'm teasing. I am.
Okay.
No, for sure. You know I am. I said it.
You know what that's called? That's called temptation, right? And when the devil comes, he doesn't always come in an ugly form, does he?
That's good. That's real good, man of God. That's real good.
He comes in a beautiful form.
Straight up.
Type of form that you wouldn't suspect him to be the devil.
He's gonna pass the offering plate because he about to preach.
Right? So he comes in the form that you're attracted, and you know it's a temptation.
Absolutely.
That is a test.
Absolutely.
And you know exactly what type of person this guy. He's not even in the devil disguise. We're talking about Future. He's in his own self, in his own flesh.
His own form. Yeah.
This is what I do. No matter what I pull up in, if he got out, if he got a Bugatti, or if he got off the local bus, you know exactly who he is, what he does. And
let me tell you. Come on. Okay, so look, let me tell you something. It's a scripture because you said it. You're talking about a man of God, and that's really good. I gotta give it to you. That was excellent. That was excellent. And I said somebody to pass the offering plate because you really did bring that out.
Cash App.
That's what I'll say next. Come on, Cash App the pastor, the man of God. Okay, but look, cause for real, I'm gonna get out of here soon. But I gotta tell you this because you brought this out. Seriously. When you find it's the same, I was giving you credit because it's the same point you brought out with JT, and it's a Bible scripture that says, to somebody who has not eaten nothing at all, even the most bitter thing tastes sweet. And the truth of the matter is, men again are more logical, and y'all said this even about the way men are set up.
Yeah,
you know when you can manipulate somebody financially.
Oh yeah,
emotionally or through sex because they're vulnerable. It's all about vulnerability. It's all about vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? So if a young girl been in the struggle, especially if she got kids, and men know this, young ladies, daughters who have children are wide open.
Yeah,
It's open hunting season, right?
We used to call them jump offs.
Okay, so they already know, and so if he was to pull up on these young girls, maybe she don't got kids of her own, right? But she in a project situation, it's a little bit struggling, you know what I'm saying? And or even she in college and she come from a middle-class family. If she's lacking anything, they call it fatherless daughter syndrome. That's the scientific or psychological term. It's fatherless daughter syndrome, where she has and men know it and they can smell it.
Yeah.
Notice and they can smell it. And her life has been bitter. So here he come, even though he a piece of crap, maybe that's how he should, like, he acts like a player, like you said, somebody who's tricking. That's your term. I'm telling you, I'm giving it right back. You know what I'm saying? He a trick. And he been tricking, even though it's not healthy for her, anything is gonna look sweet because her life has been so bitter. And so, remember, did I say this to you? And I'm gonna close with this. I'm gonna let you have the last word.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was talking to some women on social media. Matter of fact, it was a tweet, and I used it last night on Clubhouse. I had an F-boy detox that I do because of my book. It's a 10-day F-boy detox and helping women to heal from F-boy trauma because this is very traumatic.
I seen that.
Very, yeah, you did.
I was laughing.
It's very, very much traumatic. And so, when you have these situations where men are doing this, there was a young lady who said that it was a Black girl tweet, and I felt so strongly about this. She said, I personally feel if a man finesses a woman, so first initial contact, initiating communication with her is just to have sex and get her out her panties, and then to leave her like pumping and dumping, she said that should count as rape, like premeditated rape. So listen. If you see a young girl, if you see a young lady, if you see a mother, if you see a single woman and you want her, and you know you have no intention on making her an honest woman out of her, and you fly her out, you send a DM, you copy and paste the same good morning big head text to her and 5 other women at 9:00 in the morning. You take her out to Roof Chris. You buy her a bag.
Fly her out.
You buy her a bag. You DMing her. You heart eyeing all her stuff. Like How to Be a Player. It's a formula. He was going in and out, house to house, bed to bed. And then you're not going to make no honest woman, but you got the draws. Because the truth of the matter is, why you look funny when I say that, sex in our bodies are so sacred that people should be more circumspect than how we're treating each other's body. Okay. I saw a tweet from, Black Twitter is a whole organism, a whole nother world within itself. And a tweet that went viral, a young lady said, if a man intentionally pursues a woman for sex only and then leaves her after he has sex with her, that should be counted as premeditated rape. But we're not ready to have that conversation.
No, because that's some bullshit.
I didn't stutter. Because the truth of the matter is, we do not believe that other people's bodies are sacred anymore. We feel entitled to sex from somebody if we want it. Even as a woman, if a man is married, blah, 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 and women, we know the superpowers that we have. And you know what I'm saying? You're throwing it around at work and you wearing tight skirts or whatever the uniform may be, blah, 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 and you plotting on this man, he married, and you take him to the bathroom or you take him to the parking lot and you give him dome in the car and he married and got a family, and you see a weakness in that man and you become a home wrecker, she should also be charged.
That's no,
because we know what we're doing.
You can't charge.
It's the same. Listen, because the truth of the matter is, let me tell you something. The truth of the matter is, conspiracy as it pertains to money laundering or taking people's what's it called? Social Security, 401k, Roth IRA, and people go to jail and do time in the feds for stuff like that. It's just money. But if you finesse and conspire to take a piece of somebody's body and soul, why is that normalized and why is that okay? This is what we were talking about earlier about social engineering. Like, how dare I feel entitled to your body? Even though it belongs, even though you're married and all that. And I'm walking around with my hips and dips and doing all this thing, bringing you lunch, knowing that's violating, and you got a wife at home. And we in close quarters and I'm bumping up against like, oh, excuse me, James. Excuse me. Out of control. That's out of control.
Men and women being natural, even though it's wrong, has been happening since the beginning of time. That will never, ever.
That don't make it right. Does it make
men plot on women and women plot on men?
Does it make it right though?
I didn't say it was right, but you can't. It just cause say me and you married, for an example. Mm-hmm. We've been married for 20 years.
Okay.
And it's not working. And I catch feelings for somebody else and I go get love from somebody else. That's a natural feeling. That you can't put a crime on something that's natural.
Remind me never to marry you, James.
Who, me? No, hell no, you wouldn't want to marry me. I ain't shit. That's why I'm on this podcast.
And this why we can't move forward as a people, though. This is why we can't move forward because the truth of the matter is it's about honor, it's about respect, it's about dignity, it's about treating others how you want, it's about sacrifice and a labor of love, treating people how you want to be treated.
We're human. People even Jesus himself
told
Eve not to eat the forbidden fruit. She still do it, right?
And they had a consequence for that.
Yes, there is but you can't stop people from having natural. You ever been with somebody that didn't treat you right, and then you met somebody that was going to treat you right, and you felt a certain different way? You felt a different way towards this other person. That's a natural feeling. You can't change that.
Flawed. That's so flawed because the truth of the matter is there's a spectrum to human experience. When you hear people talk about being low vibrational, having sex, you and me, baby, ain't nothing. Remember that song from back in the day? We ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. That's animalistic nature. You can get a dog in heat and he'll put his thing in anything. I've seen cats, I saw one cat penetrate herself on a door stopper because she was in heat.
But
they'll find anything to have sex with. That does not make it right, and that does not mean that it's the full spectrum of the human experience. And this is why, because here's the thing. You know what else happens on low vibrational activity? Murders. While we're talking about protecting Black women. Rape. I don't know what's important to you. It could be your money or your health. You know what I'm saying? People finessing people in the healthcare system for money, giving people watered down drugs and all of that because they low vibrational as it pertains to that. So the truth of the matter is, just because people can do it because it's their natural instinct in them, some people's natural instincts are broken. And because for somebody else, what's natural for them? Having affection towards your daughter, a grown, hairy, nasty man, wanting to hump and bump on your son, wanting to F your dog and violate your animals, wanting to murder you in your sleep. Because some people are sadistic. They want to kill a body and then have sex with it. They want to have sex with corpses. That's how people think. So see, it's a slippery slope as it pertains to people tapping into whatever inclination comes without checking it and having no checks and balances in place. This is why we can't have nice things. Because if somebody feel like they want to run up in your house and grab your 62-inch, they're going to do that. And you're supposed to say what? Oh, that's what they felt like doing. Let them do it. No,
that's not what I'm saying. That's not a natural feeling. All the
that
things
is.
You described,
it is
a man want to molest a little boy and a
natural to them.
That is a mental issue, not a natural feeling. But we got to get out of here. We low on time. We're going to do a part 2. But that's not natural feelings. That's people that need to be in the mental hospital.
I think people that go around banging a bunch of bodies and dumping them need to go to a mental hospital.
No, you tripping. Men and women both do that. It's just natural.
Men and women need to be in mental hospitals. That's proving my point.
Royal oats. Okay, some people like the sword of royal oats.
And guess what come with it? Herpes, HIV, HPV. So it's not okay. Like we can keep, because see, the truth of the matter is I talk like this because I have learned over time. I've never been a set out, right? I've never been around the way, just like bumping and grinding everything and everybody. But I've learned over time, even with my affections, because I would feel bitter, I would feel incontent because I didn't have something to touch on and touch on me. But it's like, yo, there's so many different experiences and people don't even take the time. This is really what hurts my heart. Like all jokes aside, this is what hurts my heart. Is people are so broken. They're using the affections and that we use each other. That's so sad. Yeah. I don't care nothing about your heart, James. Like, I wouldn't care nothing about your spiritual dreams. Like, you may be a tender soul in there that likes art, that want to learn how to sing in Spanish. Like, you may want to learn how to paint or go see the Eiffel Tower. Like, sensitive things about your humanity that we never get to experience because I'm so busy trying to make you come. And then I dump you like you a piece of trash. And then I become less human every time I do it. And that, again, it's a slippery slope because next thing you know, it's like I'm dehumanizing myself when I dehumanize James. I dehumanize myself when I dehumanize the next man. And then what happens is people find themselves in scenarios because, again, that's low vibrational living. And it's not just low vibrational sex happening there. It's low vibrational food. It's low vibrational conversation. It's low vibrational money. So people doing stupid stuff. These same people that's banging and trashing each other are the same people who running check scams and check frauds and stealing your social security number. It's a network. It's a community of low vibrational activity. And this is why you got to say no. You just, for the greater good of us all. Our ancestors did it. We're here because they did it. Mama and Mima and Papa and them was together. You said it yourself. 40, 50, 60, some of them 70 years, they died together. Because you think he was in it. Some of them people still have families on the other side of town. But they're like, you know what? We going to still keep it together. We going to still figure it out. It's the sacrifice that you make for love. They did it for you, James. They had their kids and their grandkids and their ancestors in mind. And we don't think nothing. We be like, damn them kids. And so we do all this dumb stuff. And look at the world that we're leaving behind for our kids. All of this stuff. Our kids hear us having, sneaky link sex next to them in the bedroom, bumping the headboard up against the wall, seeing men coming in and out, watching porn. Our kids walking in on us having sex. Because we animals. And we raising animals. Not me, though.
Okay, I hear you. We're going to come back and do a part 2. Y'all make sure y'all follow Rosemarie Bay on Facebook. We're going to get out of here. Appreciate y'all watching the Hit Show podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Hit Show podcast. We everywhere. Y'all have a